Ya Ali Madad. Beautiful zikr, Alhamdulillah. Let me share first my screen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nur Maulana Shah Karim Hussain Hadri Imam. Ya Maula Meherban. Tawfiq, Taeed, Himmat wa Yari Maula. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. कलाम सजदाए शुक्राना की तौफीक अता कर या अली। या अली तेरी रहमत का जी तूफान है, तेरे एहसानो करम का बहर बेपायान है। शुक्र नेमत की कमी से सख्त सख्त शर्मिंदा हूँ। शुक्र नेमत की कमी से सख्त सख्त शर्मिंदा हूँ। ये खता है, इस खता में बार बार जिंदा हूँ। ये खता है, इस खता में बार बार जिंदा हूँ। सजदाए शुक्राना की तौफीक अता कर या अली। इसमें आज़म की लज्जत अता कर या अली। इसमें आज़म की लज्जत अता कर या अली। इम्तिहान से डर रहा है ये गरीब, इम्तिहान से डर रहा है ये गरीब। रहम फरमा, रहम फरमा या हबीब। रहम फरमा, रहम फरमा या हबीब। मैं गरीब इब्ने गरीब, इब्ने गरीब। मैं गरीब इब्ने गरीब, इब्ने गरीब। फिर भी मौला ने न छोड़ा बेनसीब। फिर भी मौला ने न छोड़ा बेनसीब। हमको खिदमत दे करीमे कारसाज। हमको खिदमत दे करीमे कारसाज। ताना हो हमसे कोई भी फख्र नाज। ताना हो हमसे कोई भी फख्र नाज। बंदाए दरगाहे मौला है नसीब। बंदाए दरगाहे मौला है नसीब। आज सो बेचारा अज बस हकीर। आज सो बेचारा अज बस हकीर। सजदाए शुक्रान की तौफीक अता कर या अली, इसमें आज़म की लज्जत अता कर या अली। शुक्र लिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, शुक्र लिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। Seeking prayers from Maulana Hazrat Imam to begin this session with his mercy, with his help. Today we start new Farman, Farman number 17, Manjewri, December 28th, 1893. हक मौलाना धनी सलामत दातार सरकार आका सुल्तान मोहम्मद शाह हाजिर इमाम फरमावी सलवात अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद व आल मोहम्मद। અમીરુલ મોમિનીન મૌલા મુર્તઝાલીએ ફરમાવ્યું છે કે મોમનની ગીબત કરવી તે ઝના કરતા પણ ખરાબ છે. કુરાનમાં પણ છે કે એકબીજામાં ફિતનો કરવો તે માણસને મારી નાખવા કરતા પણ મોટો ગુનાહ છે. ખુદાવંદ આલમીન બીજા ગુનાહ બક્ષે છે પણ તેવા ગુના નહીં બક્ષે. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So in this Farman we see that Imam is starting to teach us about ethics of Islam. And Hazrat Imam in his Farami just mentions that we need to follow the ethics. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah in this Farman is going in great detail teaching us about ethics. So anyone who has any confusion or doubts, inshallah, with this Farman, many of the points of the ethics will be clarified. And ethics is also called taqwa. The first paragraph, Imam is mentioning Maulana Ali alayhi salam. That Maulana Ali alayhi salam has made this Farman that to backbite about a mu'min is as if it is zana, illicit sexual relations. Imam Maula Ali gives the example of ghibat of a mu'min as if somebody is involved in illicit sexual relations. And then Maula says that even in Quran, it is mentioned that those who seek fitna, who seek discord, those people are sinners more than taking somebody's life. Like if someone is murdering someone, we do know what is the punishment. Those who seek discord are sinners beyond the level of killing somebody. I mean, look, how can we even imagine? How can we imagine what is the worst sin? It is to kill somebody, to take somebody's life. But Imam says that it is beyond, like, I cannot think of an example. What would be the sin of that sort that Imam mentions that those who seek discord, who create fitna, are sinners, bigger sinners than taking somebody's life. ખુદાવંદ આલમીન બીજા ગુના બક્ષે છે પણ તેવા ગુના નહીં બક્ષે. And very interestingly, Maula says that Khudawand will forgive all other sins, but these sins he will not forgive. Now this seemingly tells us about backbiting, but there is much more in this paragraph. And let us focus first on the word. Let me take it easy first. So backbiting, which is like gossiping, talking behind somebody's back. Normally, when Jama'at or Mu'minins who are not mindful, mindlessly when they talk about others, giving their opinions and gossiping behind somebody's back, What is the objective? Why people do that? And especially Imam is saying Momin's Gibat. So we have to pay attention that we are now talking about within our Jama'at and gossiping about each other. I just would like to clarify that when we work in a work environment, when we are giving feedback or evaluation, that is not backbiting. If somebody is not performing well and you have to report, that is not backbiting. So do not be confusing those things to gossiping. When someone gossips, meaning behind the back, they are talking about others. Generally, if you talk to Jama'ati members, the impression is that I spoke the truth. I spoke the truth. Whatever I said, it is hakikat. Even if it is hakikat, even if it is truth, you do not talk about. You do not talk about it. You do not gossip behind the back of other people. By doing that, when people say that, oh, I spoke the truth, it is the hakikat, that's why I spoke behind the back. I'm helping others by alerting these people. We think we are righteous, we are doing the good deed, and we are talking behind others' back. Remember, Imam is saying that these sins will not be forgiven because you are speaking behind the back of others' people. And this has to be understood because immediately Imam in the next line talks about fitna. So even when we talk about gossiping and backbiting, there are even levels, darjat in it. There are people who mindlessly talk and they don't realize that they are doing ghibat. So number one, the first important improvement which we need to seek for ourselves is to speak after thinking or be mindful when you speak. There's a call of Maula Ali, saying of Maula Ali says that a moment is one who first thinks and then speaks. So remember, it is very important to be always mindful of what you are talking about. When we are mindless, it is very easy to sin because, Shaitan is there and it makes us sin if we are not mindful. Takes away all our earnings, all our kamai, which we get from our zikr, ibadat, ilm, ibadat, giryazari, everything. It takes away all our earning. So remember to speak mindfully. Now, the second part which Imam is talking about is fitna. Fitna is very high level of sin. And it is such a sin that it cannot be forgiven by Khudavan. Seeking discord is really very, very harsh sin. And the way Imam mentions that it is given in Quran, and I'll give you the example of chapter 3, verse 7. You have to really write this down and look into this verse, chapter 3, verse 7, which talks about creating fitna. And in this verse, Khudavan Ta'ala speaks of two types of Quranic verses in Quran. One are clear and other are allegorical, muhakamat and mutashabihat. Those verses which are clear, they are very clear. There's no need of any more clarification. But then there are those verses which are allegorical. Allegorical verses needs interpretation. And if we look at Muslim Ummah today, and we see so many sects in Islam, so many sects, the origin of these sects has began from fitna. Those who seek discord, those who have fitna in their heart, they will interpret those verses differently than rightly and mislead the ummah. Today we see the results of that, that first there are two branches of Sunni and Shia. And then within Sunni there are branches, and within Shia there are branches, and we are Ismaili, Shia, Imami, Ismaili Muslims. How did this happen? How did it begin? It began with fitna in the heart of those who wanted, who intentionally were seeking fitna. And Imam is mentioning that their sin is bigger than taking away somebody's life. Their sin is bigger than taking away somebody's life. Now, in Quran, it says that if you kill one person, as if you have killed the whole universe. Killing someone is as if we have killed the whole universe. If there is no one living in the universe, then there is no planet, there is no life, there are no human beings. Killing someone is such a big sin. But Imam in this Farman says that someone who creates fitna is sinner even higher than that. So imagine, can we just comprehend the level, the extent Imam is talking about? Just imagine if somebody killing a person, the image which is given in Quran as if there is no one existing in this universe, like there is no life. That person has killed everyone. Remember, there are tawila, but we are just generally creating a scene, a picture, an imagination in our mind to realize what fitna is. And then somebody seeking discord, seeking division for whatever reasons, reasons of power, greed, whatever the reasons. Those who seek fitna, their sin is even bigger than that. So, in order to imagine this negative concept, let's go to the positive concept. And the positive concept which comes into my mind when I'm thinking in this line, Maulana Hazim Imam's Farman, Baitul Khayal Farman, Maula says that when you do ibadat and you're seeking the light, when you're seeking him, he who is above all else, then you might imagine, oh, he's above this universe. And Imam says, no, he's above that universe. Then you think of universes. He's above all that universes. Meaning our imagination cannot go above our universe because it is just difficult. And Imam is saying the light, the nur which we are seeking, it is above all else. Now that's the positive farman, but take that positive farman, that understanding, and apply it on the fitna. If somebody kills someone, it is as if there is nobody existing in the universe. The universe is empty. But if someone creates fitna, the sin is bigger than this universe. That is the example for us to kind of reflect and think that those who seek discord are such a big sinners. In history, we see that Abu Bakr did that. Abu Bakr, who was companion of Prophet, but as soon as the Prophet was taken ill and it was evident that he's going to pass away, he started plotting, planning, meaning that he was seeking discord. He was waiting for Prophet to pass away. And he was not even passed away. He had announced his Khilafat. And Maula Ali was busy with taking care of Prophet, and after the passing away of the Prophet, he was taking care of all the funeral arrangements, whereas they were celebrating and propagating that Abu Bakr is the Khalifa. And today we see in Ummah, Muslim, it's a huge Ummah, but from that Ummah, Ismailis are like grain of salt. Why? Because somebody was seeking discord. Only few remain with Imam. And Maula Ali has said that there were not even 40 Mu'mins with him that he could announce his Imamah. This is the power of fitna. So we have to be very careful that we understand this concept of fitna, meaning creating divisions. Creating division is such a big sin that there is no example we can think of, but history teaches us that how discord was sought, division was sought, and today we see the outcome after almost 1400 years after, that Ismaili Jama'at, who are with Ali, Maula Ali today, are very few. Maula Ali is the living guide, and only Smiley Jamaat is with the living guide. Now, how did this fitna started? Beginning starts with Ghibat. When we don't understand Mominins and their hikmat, because remember, it is talking about Momin ni Ghibat karvi. Now, it is a higher level, we are understanding. Generally, people are called Momin. But when Imam is calling somebody Momin, they are not general Mominin, they are real Mominins, because we use Momins for everybody. Smiley Jamaat is Momin. But we know now in knowledge journey that everybody is not a Momin, because to become a Momin, there are criteria. And if we do not fulfill those criteria, how can we call ourselves Momin? Now, someone may ask, how do I know what are the criteria for Momins? And I would refer you to Pir Pidyate Jawamardi, which has been translated in English, Gujarati, and Urdu. And there's a whole chapter on just Momins. Imam has given the characteristics, and we do have a checklist made in English for the characteristics of Momins. I would ask Naveen Sahiba to share that on the group so we can review that checklist, that what are the characteristics which Imam has mentioned in his Farman. So we have kind of summarized and written it in English in a table form to make it easier. So if we are meeting those criteria which Imam gives are very, very strict criteria to be calling someone Momin. But then there are Momins who fulfill all the criteria. When we don't understand who the Momin is and we just mindlessly speak about them, don't understand their hikmat, then it can lead someone to fitna. Again, I'm referring to history. Abu Bakr did not accept Maula Ali's rank, role, his darjah. Maula Ali, who was always praised by Prophet Muhammad, and there are so many Quranic verses which are not in Quran about Maula Ali, like Nade Ali is Quranic verse, but it is not in Quran. La Fatah illa Ali, La Saif illa Zulfikar, it's a Hadith Qudsi, meaning that it was revealed to Prophet. It should have been in the Quran, but people seeking discord, they did not put this in Quran. So it is not that people did not know about Maula Ali. They knew. But from the beginning, they had this animosity in their heart to accept the rank of Maula Ali. They always backbited behind, gossip about him behind his back. And that eventually led them to create this fitna in Muslim Ummah. So for us, today when we are reading this Farman, what is the lesson for us? Pir has taught us, Ninda thai tyathi uthine jaiye. Do not be even listening to it. Leave. Do not be even listening. Do not become the part. Do not let your ear have impurity enter into your being. So your light can be stolen by shaitan. Your hard-earned money is stolen by shaitan. Backbiting, gossiping is that bad. Because if we will keep our ears open to opinions and gossip of others, we will be misled. Because we will not know how shaitan has taken control of our being. And we are listening to hakikat. Because that's the normal logic people give. What is hakikat? Who made you God? We have to be very careful. Maula Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says that I cover the aib, the flaws of people. Maula says, Ame bijauna aib upar parda dhaki chi to tame kevi rite kholo chu. Meaning that I cover the flaws of others. So how come you open it up? We don't. We don't do ghibah. This is the ethics of Islam. So I hope that we are realizing that it is a small paragraph, but within this paragraph, there are lessons on history, beginning from simple ghibat. Ghibat of who? Mominids. We don't even know who mu'minins are. We don't have the knowledge to recognize the mu'min. Then we have to have the not only ilm, but aql, intellect, to be able to recognize those mu'minins. We need knowledge and intellect, using that knowledge with intellect to be able to identify and respect those mu'minins. When we don't even know those mu'minins, we listen to here and there, and we are sinning to the extent that we will become the part of the fitna. So we have to be very careful in protecting ourselves. What is our desire? What do we want? We want to follow the farman of Imam, and it is very clear in front of us, very clear. That's the beauty of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farami, that Jama'at at that time were not educated. So Imam spoke in great detail, teaching us what is different concepts which we have to learn. This is just one paragraph, but believe me, I'm not doing justice to it because there is so much more we can learn. खुदावन आलमीन बिजा गुना बख्शे शे परतेवा गुना नहीं बख्शे. So these sins which will not be forgiven are the sins of those who seek discord. Because if we look at Allah's plan, when we look at Allah's plan being Ismailis, we do know there are cycles. The cycle of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, and Prophet Muhammad. After Prophet Muhammad, the plan was to announce the Imamat of Maula Ali, that Maula Ali is manifested. And after that, we see it is the time of Imamat. The whole Muslim Ummah were supposed to follow Maula Ali. But those who were fitna, who were seeking discord, what did they do? They took majority, misled the majority. Only Ismaili tariqa is Hakiki tariqa. Only Ismaili is the living Hakiki tariqa. We accept all the religions. Christianity, Judaism, we accept all because they all had prophets coming to them. But Allah's days continues. And the Prophet Muhammad came, and after Prophet Muhammad, Maula Ali came. And today we have Shah Karim. So the objective of Allah, the plan was that everybody would follow Imam. But look at us, we are just grain of salt. And within this grain of salt, Imam is teaching that do not backbite about mu'minins. Our peers have taught us, our Imams have taught us. To the extent, in the time of Qiyamah, Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah teaches us about fitna. Fitna is such a sin that it will not be forgiven. Fitna is such a sin that it will not be forgiven. So those who are interested to study this concept from Quran, I would recommend you to read 3/7 and 41/36. Inshallah, when we summarize, I think we'll have to review 41/36 because it is very beautiful verse. But let me focus today on Farman. So, backbiting. Now, another aspect of backbiting is that people, especially women, more than men, because women needs more words than men. It is just biology, proven by research. There is a concept of sharing, that when somebody is going through difficult times, you have to share because it is burdening you and you're going through difficult times, and there are situations or relations or circumstances that you are in a situation where you have to speak about somebody to be able to heal. That is different from backbiting. However, sharing has to be also mindful. There has to be objective. When we are talking about our difficulties, our issues, and we have to talk about somebody else, meaning we are backbiting. But the intention is to share and to heal. That's a different thing. And remember, it is nothing to do with ilm or knowledge or religion. It is dealing with personal relations. Like, commonly we hear, husband and wife conflicts, or mother-in-law or daughter-in-law conflicts, any kind of conflicts in relations, boyfriend-girlfriend conflicts, any relations conflict, right? In today's time, we hear that. And they need to share with somebody to be able to hear back where or how they can help themselves, fix themselves, or seek feedback from others. That sharing has to be there with an objective of learning. So normally what I say that there are Jama'ati members who have come to me sharing that they are going through this difficulty and this person and that person has given this pain to them. How do they heal? What do they do about it? And I would tell them whatever their situation is. So yes, I have heard them. But then there are friends who would tell me once, I tell them, we need to do this. Then they would come again and tell me second time. And I tell them, we need to seek guidance. And when they come third time, I would say, I'm so sorry, I cannot listen. You need to seek professional help. Because if our relationships are burdening us so much that you are indulging in backbiting mindlessly and there is no willingness to learn and improve, or you're not able to improve because you're so overwhelmed with your circumstances, you need to seek professional help. And we are blessed in today's time that we have, therapists. We have these blessings. Mental health care is available. Mental health care is very important. And that is why we have seen how much work is being done by our institutions on mental health care. Sometimes in Jama'at, the backbiting is understood as if that I have to continue to take the abuse or keep tolerating the difficulties and not come out of it because I am being obedient to Faramins. Imam has also said, seek help. Imam has also created these institutions to seek help. So please be mindful that when we talk about backbiting, we have to understand this concept with knowledge. Do not be mindless. That is the key point. And if somebody is in relationship problems or at work and they do not know how to fix it and they are seeking help, they are sharing their situation. They clearly tell you their intention. They are sharing so they can learn. It can happen once. But if it is repeated again, then you do know this is Gibat and it should not be tolerated. It should not be tolerated. And the person who is sharing has to be mindful what they are sharing. So I hope that we are able to distinguish when we are going through difficult circumstances, going through even abuse, and mental health is needed, mental health care is needed. Please do know that there is care available. There is no need in today's time to tolerate abuse. So distinguish between abuse and seeking help that is different from what we are talking about here, backbiting about mu'minins. In terms of religion, we have to be very careful. It can lead us to go into fitna. Another point which I would like to make, because I have come across so much with our friends in Jama'at, that those people who share, it is every time the same sob story. Life is sob story. If you look at it in that way, life is full of troubles. Meaning that someone is playing the role of victim. And in our culture, unfortunately, that is what is being taught, that women are victim, or those who are in a weaker positions are victim. We being Ismailis, follower of Imam, we being Mu'minins in Ismaili Jama'at, we are survivors. Why and how? Because animosity started from the time of Maula Ali, but we have survived today with Imam. Till now, we are with Shah Karim. We are survivor. How do we survive? We seek Imam's guidance. We seek this knowledge, to learn this knowledge, to be able to protect ourselves, learn and grow in the right direction, negate the negative learnings from the culture, playing the role of victim, and become survivor, taking things positively, willing to learn ourselves, how can we change ourselves? Because if we continue to point fingers on others, we are blaming others. What can we do? How can we protect and learn and grow to, save that hard-earned money, our good deeds, our zikr ibadah? Imam in other Farman says that someone who travels in a train and has a treasure with him, he will be so alert and awake that he will not even yawn, because he has this fear that my treasure will be stolen. And then Imam explains this Farman that is the example of a moment. We are all on the journey. This life is a journey. And in this journey, there are very many things which are going around us. We have to learn and overcome it. But we cannot be sleeping and protecting the treasure. We cannot be mindless. We have to be mindful. Seeking this knowledge, seeking the guidance of the Imam to walk on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim. So again, to summarize very briefly, we understand what is backbiting. It is different from sharing, learning, and growing. We are being taught, do not listen to backbiting. Ninda thai tyanthi uthine joye. Sharing is done between 1 and 2. That's it. Ninda is actually done in the groups. So we have to be very careful and understand what are the characteristics which are shown by Shaitan. We have to be very careful. Ninda is always done in the groups, seeking to have the opinion being heard, brainwashing others, desire to be liked by others, pleasing others. All these are characteristics which are used by Shaitan to mislead naive Jama'ati members. And remember, in Quran, it is very clearly being said that there are Shaitan, ins or jinn. There are Shaitan which are jinni Shaitan, invisible, meaning whispers which come into our heart and mind. We don't see it, but Shaitan puts the thoughts in our heart and mind. And then there is insi, meaning humans, who become the, slave to Shaitan. They become the army of Shaitan. And they come and talk about things which we do not need to be taking any interest in. So there are Shaitan, jinni, and insi. They would come, share their thoughts, ninda, telling you the hakikat, and misleading you to the wrong, to go astray from the path. So I hope that it is clear. This concept is very, very important. And we have to realize that in today's time, illicit sexual relations, we would never want to indulge in that. But Maula Ali says that when we are doing ghibat, that's what we are doing. Can you imagine that? Can we see ourselves doing that? It needs reflection. It needs thinking. But at the same time, we have to be knowledgeable to protect ourselves from any fitna around us. Because Imam in 1893 is teaching us, meaning fitna is around us. There are different levels of fitna as well. History teaches us about fitna. So we have to be very careful and become wise. One can only become wise with knowledge, because our intellect needs nourishment. And that nourishment can only come through this true knowledge, which is based on Imam's Faramins, Quranic verses, and Ginans of our peers. But then Quran itself teaches us that there are talimat which are needing interpretations. And we see Abu Bakr, what did he do? He interpreted those verses which were about Imam to others in such a way that the whole Ummah left Maula Ali. Alhamdulillah, we are very blessed to be with Imam. We are truly blessed to be with Imam. But this was a very important point. I hope that we understand. The second paragraph, બીજાના પૈસા ખાઈ જશે તો તેના ગુના પણ નહીં બક્ષે. અગર તે પૈસા ખુદાની રાહમાં લૂંટાવે તો પણ કોઈ ફાયદો થતો નથી. જેના પૈસા ખાઈ ગયા હોય તેની પાસે બક્ષાવીએ તો માફ થાય. ખુદા તાલાએ હક ઇન્સાનને બક્ષ્યો છે. ખુદાવંદ આલમીન રહેમ રહેમી છે. તે પોતાના હક બક્ષે છે પણ પારકો માલ નહીં બક્ષે. માટે વિચાર કરો, ખુદાને ત્યાં ઇન્સાફ છે. તે બીજાઓના માલ કેમ બક્ષે? લેનદાર બક્ષે તો જ માફ થાય. Now again, this paragraph is so powerful, but again we have to take it step by step. First, very clearly, it is about money. That if someone takes the money from others and they don't return it, right? They take it, they don't return it, or by any means they've cheated. Because Imam doesn't define. You just take away somebody's money. That is very big sin and it will not be forgiven. Taking somebody's money, it's a sin which will not be forgiven. If even you take others' money and you spend in the path of Khuda, if you have stolen others' money and now somebody is paying the song or doing charity, that will not be accepted. So, we can take the examples that somebody doing business and cheating Jama'at or others, and they are cheating and they're making money, and now from that money they're paying the song or doing charity. It will not be accepted. It will not be accepted. So why to cheat? Why to take others' money? See, in their mind, what they would be thinking, oh, I paid the song. I do charity, so I'm a good person. Look at Imam's Farman. Look at Imam's Hidayah. If you cheat, if you do take money of others, the sin will not be forgiven. And you cannot purify that money, which is earned from cheating. You cannot purify that money by paying the song or even charity. It will not be accepted because it's a wrong money. It's already bad money. જેના પૈસા ખાઈ ગયા હોય તેને પાસે બક્ષાવીએ તો માફ થાય. Now whoever's money that person has taken, you have to go to them and ask for forgiveness, meaning acknowledging your sin, that I took money from you, this is how I did it, and please forgive me. Then only it will be forgiven. ખુદાવંદ આલમીન રહેમ રહેમી છે. તે પોતાના હક બક્ષે છે. Now, very interesting here that Imam says that the attribution of Khudawand is that he is merciful, he is Rahim and Rahman. If we were to make mistake in his court about his money, he might forgive us because it is him and between us. How do we seek forgiveness? With the commitment to not make that sin, commit that sin again. He might forgive us. But it is between him and us. It is not involving any Jama'ati members or anybody as in person. Because why? Imam says, if you take away somebody's money, then think, where is the justice in it? If you seek forgiveness from Imam, if you steal money from others and you seek forgiveness from Imam, where is the justice in it? You did not take money from Imam, so why are you even asking Imam to forgive you? Whoever you have stolen money from, seek their forgiveness. Seek their forgiveness. So that is the key thing we have to understand here. તે બીજાઓના માલ કેમ બક્ષે? How can Imam forgive others' sin? Because you have not even committed sin against Imam. How can he forgive those sins? It doesn't logically make any sense. And Imam is saying, do justice yourself and tell me. લેનદાર બક્ષે તો જ માફ થાય. The one whom you have taken the money from, if that person forgives you, then only you'll be forgiven. So money-wise, it is very clear we do understand these ethics in today's time very clearly. How many of us refrain from doing that? That is another question, especially when we are into businesses. How many of us we stay mindful and not cheat others? So this is something again to reflect. But what is the higher level? The higher level is that we have talked about money in different forms. Money meaning our earning. And we have talked about our earning at physical level, spiritual level, and intellectual level. Whatever we have earned, we have said, we have learned that we have to pay the salt. Now, can we steal money at spiritual level, at intellectual level? Yes. If we can earn, we can steal as well. Meaning, for example, let me make it very simple because it's a difficult concept. But if we were to take the level of intellect, if we have received knowledge and say we do not give them the credit, if we have learned from someone and we do not give them the credit, and we say that it is my knowledge, it is my hard-earned money, we are stealing. We are stealing. And then if that knowledge is given as good deed, it is not going to benefit. Where is the justice in that? Imam says, where is the justice in that? How can you ask forgiveness from me? You have to go to that person who you have committed the sin. The knowledge you have taken from that person and never given them the credit or labeled it as your own knowledge. In today's time, we know the term plagiarism. But plagiarism is a worldly term and very limited, though there are laws against plagiarism and copyrights and whatnot. But think of it as a spiritual level, at a very higher level. When that is done, what does it mean? Those sins will never be forgiven. It will only be forgiven if you go to them and ask forgiveness and tell them how did you cheat them. Then only those sins will be forgiven. When we take money in the sense that we are stealing, it is not our money. And then if we are spending that money in doing good deeds, those are not good deeds. Those are seeking fitna, creating discord among listeners. As it is a difficult concept, it requires a lot of reflection. It requires a lot of reflection. You know, there is a beautiful lecture. We were working on the transcription, global lectures, number 8, I think. And in that lecture, there's a beautiful story which is being mentioned about Maulana Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib was the father of Maulana Abu Talib. Maulana Abu Talib is the father of Maula Ali. So there was a king or governor, Abraha. He was a very rich man. And Khana-e-Kaaba at that time was the center of the whole, surrounding people. Why? Because they used to go to prayers because there were booths at that time. Idol worshipping was going on in Khana-e-Kaaba at that time. And it was a place of market as well, right? Lots of vendors and all those, people who wanted to sell their goods, they would go there. And all the tradings would happen around in that area. So Abraha actually wanted to conquer that place so he can make his own business. He wanted to earn money. So what he does, he sends his army And around in that area, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib's camels were there, around 100, 200 in numbers, they were there. And because he wanted to conquer, so they took away all the camels. And later on, he announces that, we are going to attack. If you don't leave, we are conquering this is our place. We will attack Khana-e-Kaaba. It will be our place. And this announcement was done. Maulana Abdul Muttalib, when he finds out that his camels are stolen, so he goes to Abraha. Now, Abraha, he is not Muslim, and when he sees the personality of Maulana Abdul Muttalib, he becomes kind of, he feels this holiness in him. So he stands up and he says, okay, thank you for coming. And in his mind, he's thinking that, Maulana Abdul Muttalib would be scared or plead or say, please do not do that. And for his surprise, he hears him saying, please return my camels. And he's like, what? He says, please return my camels. He says, why? What do you mean? Do you not know that I'm going to attack Khana-e-Kaaba and you are the one who is a caretaker of Khana-e-Kaaba? He says, no. Khana-e-Kaaba is not mine. Khana-e-Kaaba is of Lord. Mine were my camels. I want you to return my camels. He will take care of his own place. And he gets so shocked. What is this? So he returns the camels to Maulana Abdul Muttalib. And then later on when he attacks, we all know Surah Fil in Quran, which mentions that these birds came with, tiny stone in their mouth, and they attacked this whole army of Abraha, and they were defeated by simple sparrows like birds coming and throwing these pebbles on their heads, and they were defeated. Why this story? How does it relate? When Imam says that you do the justice of deciding, that how do you seek forgiveness of the sins of others? It is very important for us to realize that when we are studying this Farman, we have to realize Imam is asking us that what do we see Imam as? Yes, he is Rahman and Rahim. He will forgive our sins. But are we even knowledgeable what we are doing? We are mindful of our sins, beginning from simple gossip to going into fitna or promoting fitna or becoming part of fitna, to the extent that we become party of those who are stealing money. Remember, physical money, spiritual earnings, intellectual earning. We become party of those who are stealing money. When we don't have knowledge, we will not understand. In this story, the key point is that Maulana Abdul Muttalib said, what is mine is mine. But if you are sinning against his house, he will take care of it. Don't you worry. If we are sinning against people, against mu'minins, we are responsible for it. It is our sin which will not be forgiven. Remember the sin today, I hope we are looking at sin in a very different light, because Imam says this sin is beyond we can imagine. It is such a big sin. It is such a big sin when we see what Abu Bakr did. He stole. What did he steal? He stole the knowledge of Prophet, which was taught to everybody, all the companions of Prophet. And he used that knowledge to create fitna among the listeners, ummah, who were naive. Some knew, because there was a group of people who were plotting and planning, but majority were naive. They saw Abu Bakr with beard being the companion of Prophet Muhammad, rich, eloquent speaking. Maula Ali was young, short in height, simple looking man, straightforward. They did not accompany Maula Ali. They all became part of Abu Bakr. And result today we see. What do we see? Smileys, grain of salt. All this knowledge which we really understand Imam's Faramin, Imam is asking us, do the justice. Do you think that if you are sinning against me, you come to me, I'll forgive. But if you are sinning against Mu'minins, how can I forgive? I cannot. So Maulana Abdul Muttalib, he said, I'll take care of my camels. He'll take care of his own house. Meaning, if we were to sin in his court, he says, I am Rahman and Rahim. I'll forgive you. But what if we are sinning against Mu'minins in Jama'at? He will not forgive us. And whatever we are doing, learning knowledge, doing ibadat, zikr, giryazari, hard-earned money, we think, and we spend it in thinking that we are making for, collecting or saving for our hereafter. Imam says very clearly, if that money is spent in good deeds, it is not benefiting. It is not benefiting. So I'll stop here. And if friends have comments or questions, they can come forward. Ji.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Thank you, Niamat Saiba, for a very clear explanation of Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farman on taqwa as such. Although we haven't finished the Farman, but we've learned quite a bit in terms of fitna and backbiting. I have a few questions from the chat. So the first one is, when somebody relates a story and they say that they've actually seen it with their own eyes, is that called backbiting as such?
So what is the objective? Story meaning, how does it help? If you've seen somebody sinning, okay, that's what it is referred, right? It's a negative example. If you saw somebody doing something wrong or bad, and now you are sharing it with others, what is your intention? Remember, we talked about it. It is hakikat you are sharing. You have seen it. Nobody's denying. Nobody's telling you that you are a liar. No, you know the fact. But why are you sharing? Why? When Imam is saying that, I cover the flaws of others. Why are you exposing it? However, there's a key. When you are teaching, when the intention is to teach or make others become mindful or wiser, you teach in the language of wisdom. You talk in a way without the names. You talk in a way without the names, but you teach the essence. You share the essence because your intention is to help without names. Because when you are naming names, you are becoming sinful. So what is your goodness in you? Then you are sinful. You are a sinner. So forget about your intention. Remember, if we backbite, the result is that our sins are not forgiven. We are sinners, big sinners. So if we are desiring to benefit somebody, learn to speak wisely. And how does that wisdom comes? Because it is not easy. How do I talk, say the story without giving the facts? No, we are not supposed to give the facts. We are supposed to give the essence with the intention of helping other without naming the names. Let them use their own intellect because it is everybody's own responsibility. Think of, it's so important and very interesting that when we talk about religion, we want others to be responsible to teach us, to feed us. In the worldly sense, do you not go out and earn money? Do you not work hard that you have money? And then when you get the money, do you not do grocery or cook food and then take a bite and then chew it and then it goes into your being and becomes your nourishment? Such a hard work we do for our physical life. But when it comes to religion, it is others' responsibility, not mine. Everybody is responsible. So yes, you can, if you have seen the story and you are helping others, learn to speak wisely. Otherwise, do not be sharing. It is not your job. It is not your job. If you are given that task to be teaching, Imam will give you the language, the tongue also, because all comes from him. It is not our ability. Speak wisely. When you speak wisely, you will be able to help others without naming the names. And your intention, your hidden thoughts or your intention which are in your heart, not in words, is only seen by Imam. If your intentions are not pure, we are sinning. So you decide in yourself, what are you seeking? What do you want? And then do the deed. Otherwise, you are being naive, thinking, oh, I'm earning good deeds. But it is all sin, actually. It is all sin. The sum which you paid is sin. Now, that is mind-blowing when we are saying like that. But we have to really shock ourselves to understand that, yes, even the sum is a crime, is a sin. Imam says, I will not accept it. I am Rahmi Rahman if it is pure. It is not pure. The sum will not purify our money or our knowledge if we've been cheating. So I hope, Karim, this helps.
Gee, thank you, Niamat Saiba. Quite clear. We have another question. It says, does it include people who create divisions among family after marriage and kids separate themselves from their parents and never return? So I think this is... Sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, I understand. Thank you, Karim. So this is what you are referring to, the worldly relationship problems and worldly things. Yes, people do that. There are people, because one person wants everybody to be loving them, liking them. It is the, people-pleasing kind of personality. So they want attention towards them. So they, divide people, whatever things. These are all related things which makes us, think of mental health issues. The problem is that in past, from our culture, we have learned very many wrong things from our culture. And those wrong cultural values have to be fixed with education. And that gap which is in between the previous generation and this generation can only be fixed with knowledge. We cannot change our elders, those you think that seeking discord, but in reality, behind that seeking of discord, there is a trauma, there is a pain, there's lack of love. So if you understand that, you yourself will come from the point of understanding, from point of being positive and trying to meet their needs so they do not seek discord. For that, you also have to become knowledgeable. Why are you thinking that they are seeking discord? What is your trauma? So this is physically family issues which has to be fixed by seeking knowledge in today's time. Yes, this knowledge will give us strength, because all this strength and courage comes from this ilm and ibadat. But then there are things which are in our relationships and whatever you are mentioning, I can understand that there is trauma, there is pain, which has to be understood through mental health care. Because sometimes what happens, we mix these things and we are not able to untangle, and come out of it to be able to even enjoy our religion. So it is important to seek care from our institutions. Access has beautiful, team. Some team members I know personally. So you have to seek help, and you are not seeking separation or fitna. What you are seeking, I want to understand why this person is behaving like that. What can I learn? How can I change myself to become better family member? So it is easy to point fingers on others. It is difficult to say that I will become accountable and learn what I need to learn to be able to understand them. That's the approach I like. Ji.
We have another question, but before that, I just want to remind friends that Niamat Sahiba will be doing a presentation on what he saw, question 76 in 3 hours time. Details are in the group chat. So if you have a look at that, you will get all the details. The question we have is, can you please explain a little more about spiritual steel?
So it relates to the intellectual earning. When we are doing zikr ibadat, when we say our dua, that is all our spiritual earning. But we have learned that if we say dua without understanding the meaning, if we say ginan without understanding the meaning, it doesn't serve the purpose. It is a mechanical, lip service. Mawla Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says, monkey see, monkey do, right? So the earning which are spiritual, they are earned rightfully when we have knowledge, meaning when we use our intellect. So they are interrelated in the sense that when we are stealing and if we are doing zikr ibadat, it is not taking us to the right path, but making us go astray, because whatever we are earning, we are thinking it's a good deed, but it is actually taking us to the wrong path without us being realizing. Why? Because there is this stealing involved in it, intellectually, becoming party of shaitan when we are getting knowledge like that. So we have to be very mindful that it is very interlinked. Simplified, whatever you are earning, you think it is your earning, it is not. It is taking you astray. Eventually, in time, it will be lost. It is not a good deed. Even if you pay the sonda out of it, it is not a good deed. Ji.
Friends, if you have any questions or comments, you can come forward. So while we're waiting for that, any further questions or feedback, what would happen if individuals actually learn from people who have stolen as such intellectual knowledge or have not acknowledged it, but the person who is learning doesn't know that?
Yeah, so there are three answers, three things you asked me actually. So number one starts from the last one. Those who do not know, meaning I call them naive, but Quran actually calls them ignorant. Those who are blind here will be blind here and hereafter. It is everybody's responsibility to learn and do not be impressed. What happens when you have nothing, you have not earned anything, or the example which we were taking in Book of Healing, when you are thirsty, you're in desert, you're so thirsty that you would think of sand as water. But when you put it in your mouth, you'll spit it out. Oh, it's a sand, but I thought it was water. Meaning that when our soul tastes it, it knows. It doesn't enrich our soul. Superficially, we think it's water, but it is not. It is sand. But that ability does not come until we have our own earning, our own kamai, meaning realize that we cannot afford to be ignorant anymore. Take the worldly example. When we came to Western countries or wherever we are in this world, we could not stay, walking with the time, learning what we had to learn. We had to learn. My mother did not know as much as I know. My mother did not drive. I had to learn to drive. The huge difference in our, with generation. We had to force ourselves to learn. So what I'm saying, in other words, that if we don't take responsibility of our individual learning, we are happy with the culture of listening and do not pick up books and learn for ourselves, Quran calls them ignorant. So that is the first part. Second part was, we know the answer, what will happen to them from history. whole ummah was with Prophet Muhammad. And one has to reflect what has happened to ummah today. And the third level was Imam giving us the Farman. In this Farman, Imam said very clearly that if you earn money by stealing others' money, and then you do good deeds, you use that money in doing good, it is not a good deed. It is not a good deed. That money will not be accepted. But what you are thinking, you've stolen that money in business. Oh, I made my business. And you earn money by cheating others, and now you're paying this on. You're thinking you're purifying your money. It is thinking, faulty thinking. How will it be fixed? Until we study these Faramins, we will not know the difference. We think seemingly good deeds and true good deeds are different. Gee.
Thank you. There is a follow-on question from that. I think you already answered, but I will just read out the question. So if they are doing ignorantly, is it forgivable because they don't know they are doing wrong?
Very good question. And as I said, that if the sins, according to Imam's Farman, if the sins are against Imam, he is Rahmi Rahman. If the sins are against people, you got to go to those people and seek forgiveness. Simple as that.
Okay. Friends, if you have any questions or comments, you can come forward.
Ya Ali Madad Niamat Saibah. This is Anis. I've heard something like this, that when you have to ask the forgiveness of the person that you have sinned for, because if that person doesn't forgive you, then Allah will not forgive you. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Because it's easy to ask Allah, but it's very hard to go to the person, isn't it? Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that, Anis.
Anybody else? Any other questions? We have one comment which says, Shukar Mawla Ali Allah very nicely explained what is general talk and what is Ninda. Thank you, Appa. Mawla, guide us all on Siratul Mustaqim and save us from Badamal. There is also another question, comment. There is stealing and they go to court and resolve in the court, but there is a charge to the stealer.
Very good point. See, yes, very good point. Extremely important point, that when we seek, in the worldly sense, if you go to court, there is fine, there is punishment to get the forgiveness of the sin you committed. There is a prison, prison time. So same concept which we see in the worldly, these are examples, right? Apply to our religious life. If we are seeking forgiveness, there has to be fine, there has to be punishment. Who wants punishment? No. So what is the easy way? Become knowledgeable and mindful to protect ourselves. And, seeking forgiveness, protecting ourselves from sinning, and the knowledge of sin is also within knowledge. Ali Allah Madad Farman. That's where I would like to end, Kareem.
Thank you, Niamat Saiba. Wonderful session again and a very clear explanation of the Farman. Inshallah, we'll carry on next week. It's very interesting, Farman. Thank you, and Ali Madad friends. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, Kareem,
Ya
so much.
Ali Madad.
Ali Madad Niamat Saiba.
Ali Madad.
Thank you.
Ali Madad.